Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of my favorite album covers. And today we are talking about my 12 favorite covers that are actual works of art, they're actual paintings. And I think when an artist is able to describe an album and what is its content, is just fabulous. So let's go right into it with number 12, an album that is actually painted by the artist herself, the incredible Joni Mitchell. And this is her album Both Sides Now, which is a collection of standards and which I adore. And she really gives you the idea of what you're going to hear. She's got a cigarette and it's all smoky, and this is a piano bar and everything is dark and very dimly lit. It's just absolutely beautiful. And what an artist is Joni Mitchell. Number 11, this is Cabaret, the soundtrack. I absolutely loved this album cover when I was little because it was all black with just that striking writing, Cabaret with the little lights, and Liza Minnelli sitting on top of the T and just being fabulous and showing you that life is a cabaret. And the whole black album cover, I just thought that was so stunning, and it's just so glamorous, and it also is a bit edgy, and I just loved it. Number 10, an amazing artist, Kate Bush, and what an album cover. Never Forever. Look at her. This is her universe. This is her world. She is standing on her tippy toes. There's a cliff, and her dress, which is made out of clouds, and through her dress comes out everything, her dreams, her nightmares, the ghouls, everything that you can imagine. And it's really the setting for this album, which is an actual dream, and it's just so beautiful, and it really looks like the music and the voice that you're going to hear. Number 9, one of my favorite albums when I was a little boy, and my favorite artist, Grace Jones, which I adore. I must have told you before, my first concert ever, Grace Jones, the one-man show, and this is Portfolio. Look at that beautiful, perfect blue background, and just her face, angry and singing and no hair, and just stunning. And this artist, Bernstein, worked on her 3 first albums. He did Portfolio, then the album Fame, and then her 3rd album, which was Muse. And then she came back to him in the 90s for the album Inside Story, and they're all just stunning, and there was an evolution in the artist's work, and I really thought that was really beautiful. Number 8, Color Me Barbra. How could I avoid talking about Barbra Streisand? And I just love this cover. I love the monochrome background, bright pink, and this beautiful little drawing that's very innocent, and that is so gorgeous, and that captures the imagery of Barbra Streisand. Look how her bright blue eyes and that triangle for her nose and the little pearls and that smile, and it's just so cute. And it's actually inspired by a song on the 3rd Barbra Streisand album called Draw Me a Circle, and where Barbra Streisand is asking someone to draw her face, and this is what comes out, and I think it's just so cute, and it's just a very striking album cover. Number 7, I was going to say Cocorico because this is French, although Josephine Baker is born American, but to the French, they'll never believe you. Josephine Baker is French. She's buried at the Panthéon along with the greatest presidents, the kings, and the important people who made France. And she was moved from her original burial ground, which was in Monaco, and she was brought to the Panthéon, which is a huge honor, of course, for any French citizen. And to us French people, she's French, she speaks French. No one ever, there's many people who have no idea she's American. And this is her very last show at Bobino, which is a tiny theater, but she had an extraordinary show with stunning costumes. And look at her just in that bodysuit, that headdress, and just commanding. I mean, she is a queen. She's definitely the Queen of France. And she unfortunately did only one show, died the next day. And then when her funeral came around a few days later, the hearse went by through the city of Paris, and she was applauded, and the hearse was covered with mountains of roses, but the hearse stopped in front of the theater where she was due to perform that night, and that is a very emotional moment. It's just absolutely incredible. That's just how important she had. She had a national funeral, and that album cover, because we're only talking about album covers today, is really, really striking. Number 6, Chaka Khan. I adore Chaka Khan. This painting is done by Anne Field. She's an amazing artist, and she's done a lot of work for fashion, in fashion magazines and layouts. And look at the way she has captured Chaka. It's her face with the glove, and she's just absolutely stunning. Chaka Khan, I feel for you. And the back cover is also fantastic. It's Chaka dancing with her wild hair, and just absolutely amazing. And it's a very musical album cover, just like the incredible album that is I Feel For You. Number 5, another French artist. I've done a lot of French artists for this, but it's a way for me to describe some artists that you may not know so well. It is Amanda Lear, Never Trust a Pretty Face, another self-portrait. Amanda Lear is not only a singer and an actress, a comedian, a writer, but she is a painter, and an amazing painter. And this is a portrait that she did of herself, and very much in the style of Salvador Dali, who she was the muse of for many, many years. He painted her, and they had a very close relationship, and no wonder he was so in such admiration of all this talent. And when I met Amanda Lear and I designed a coat for her, we were discussing, how we wanted the coat to be, and she took a marker and, free-handed this little sketch, and it was just perfect, and she did in 2 seconds. She's a great, great artist, and a wonderful lady, and very, very sweet and very kind. I was very privileged to meet her. Number 4, Mireille Mathieu. She is, how can I describe her? She's between Sandra Dee and Barbra Streisand. Now, she has nothing to do with Barbra, but she's got this very goody-goody image. She was never married. No one has ever known who she was with. And she was very discreet about her life, and always very, very goody-goody. But at the same time, had a huge career. And she's still today singing and making albums. And she's always had the same hairstyle. And she's sung a lot of standards. And she has this incredible voice. And that's why I compare her to Streisand. Although, she has nothing to do with her. But she did sing Woman in Love and Promises. She covered them, but the French artists do that often. This album cover is fantastic because it is done by Aslan, who's an amazing artist, and he only did pinups and a lot of nude women for nude magazines and all. And so he was chosen by her producer because they wanted to kind of give a little edge to this album cover. This is her Olympia in 1972. My very first album, not the first one I bought, the first one I heard. It was in my house, and I went crazy over this album as a little boy. I would listen to it nonstop, but I absolutely loved this album cover. Number 3, Liza Minnelli, Live at the Winter Garden. The reason why I chose this album is because, first of all, look how spectacular it is. It's an all-white album. Her name is written in palest gray in stick writing. You can barely read it. And the drawing that was chosen is just a tiny vignette of her face, and then Eliza, spelt out with a red marker. And it's just pretty daring to make an album cover such as that. But on top of that, album cover, which is so not commercial, the album was taken out of the record stores immediately because there was a fight for the song Cabaret, because this is a Columbia Records and Cabaret belonged to MCA. So they had to take it out. There was a lawsuit, and that kind of put a real big stump on Liza Minnelli's recording career, which was going really high at the time. She was really going very well with the album Liza with the Z. This was the follow-up, and it completely put a break in her career. And so, but the album cover is just so stunning, and I got this secondhand when I was a little boy, and I really, really loved it. And I just think it's still today, it's still spectacular. It came out again on CD in the 2000s, but they didn't use this album cover because I think you can't even find it. You see, the picture I found is not a good quality picture. Number two, I have to pay tribute to the extraordinary art of Mr. Amsel, Richard Amsel. What an artist. He did Bette Midler's both first and second album. This is Bette Midler's second album. Look at the way he is able to capture all of Bette. The face, the smile, the look, the silhouette, the shoes. Everything is perfect, and he is more than just an artist or an illustrator. He is just an amazing person. He really captures a person. And just to tell you what kind of person he is, when he was 17 years old, there was a contest to make the poster for the movie, the upcoming movie Hello Dolly, and he sent out this drawing and he won. Look at the drawing. I can just imagine next to the others, but look how extraordinary, again, how he captures Barbra's face profile with the hair. I mean, this is Hello Dolly in just one drawing. It's just so amazing. And to this day, Bette Midler's stationery is this. This is her stationery. She writes inside the Bette Midler square. Number one, Diana Ross, Silk Electric, Andy Warhol, because when you're Diana Ross, you command Andy Warhol to make your album cover. Andy Warhol has done a lot of album covers, but this one is particularly striking. I love the bright pink. Diana Ross is at the height of her beauty, but he really captured something, you know, with the black hair and just a little bit of the background, and then her beautiful shoulder and her eyes, and she's just stunning now. And Diana Ross went to do that picture in the morning at the factory, and she brought along her three daughters, Rhonda, Tracy, and Chutney. And so they were able to have their portraits done. And Tracy tells that she had a little dress with a bretelle, a strap, and the strap fell off, and Andy Warhol said, "Oh, that looks perfect," and she was like, "Oh, this is creepy." And of course, you know, Diana Ross was in the room, so she had nothing to worry about. But I thought that was such a cute story, and I'm going to stop talking because I'm only here to talk about my album covers, but this is it. So I'll see you next week for another story, another collection of my favorite album covers.